break. Like, someone we've come to know very, very well. She's a treasure trove of information. She really cares about the community. Our dear friend Dafne Shimizu, the director at Refunds Tax and everything, she was actually just like with us in the chat room talking about hair. But I was like, hair? You think? I cannot wait till I get my haircut. Good morning, Daph.
Yeah, can you show us your hair, Jay?
Oh, good lord.
Come
okay.
On.
When this is like 3 months of. I mean, I was like, I'm not gonna get my haircut during PCOR 1, which we all thought was gonna be like maybe 2 weeks.
Yeah.
But I can't wait till I can finally get my haircut again, because when I finally get my haircut, my hair is gonna be fried, dyed, and to the side.
You really look like a cartoon character. I can't figure it out. When I do, though, I'll let you know.
I'm bringing back the Chamorro afro, that's for sure.
Right, and you've got the butt buzz going too.
Oh,
the
very
beard,
much so.
Yeah.
No, look at. Nobody wants to look at me. Look at Daph. Daph was even saying, Daph, you got the Rapunzel thing going on, right?
Yeah, this is because I haven't gone to the hairstylist in months. So this is not by choice. But I have discovered that you could actually order hair dye online. So there's this company called Madison Reed. There's no ammonia, no harsh chemicals, I suppose. And so my sister-in-law was the one that introduced me to Madison Reed, and I am enjoying it. So at least I won't have the same issue that I had back in March, April. I didn't go for several months, and my hair was really bad. So Jason, I'll send you the link for Madison Reed. It's great. It even comes with, the cool thing is you could even buy, like, when you actually go to the hairstylist and they have the little brush and the bowl with
nice.
The bowl that does not move because it's got this like rubber at the bottom of it so that it could stay in place as you're, doing your hair. So it's great. It's
Wait,
really
what's
great.
the link? MadisonReed.com? I'm going to need this.
I think it's just called Madison Reed. I'm sure it's MadisonReed.com, but
I
it's
wonder
great.
if we can get a bulk discount, because Sabrina's probably going to order like at least a couple hundred units. But yeah, your hair is very, very lovely. And I would dare say, because of the because of the pandemic and all the work you've been doing, and you and your team, you guys have been working like so much and everything like that, you can probably at this point put the extensions aside for a couple weeks, because.
Yeah. I feel like Jason's trying to fast track his refund.
Thanks for that. Jason and Chris and Sabrina, thank you. Good morning. And you know what? I know you usually start off with like, how am I doing? And I wanted to just share. I actually, we've been very busy, as you know, and I think Jason kind of led into that. We've been really, really busy here at Refunds Tax. We had our October 15 deadline. Just last week, we had the first drive-through drop-off that we've ever done, and I think that that was very successful, and we're planning on perhaps utilizing that format for other things that we do. And so that's really exciting. Obviously, we have a lot of programs running. We're still doing the economic impact payment program. And then we also have Menguffa. And I wanted to make sure that I let people know that, we're still accepting Menguffa applications online. So, if you fall within the $150,000 and below threshold, if you're married filing joint and you had not received an EIP because your dependent was between the ages of 17 to 23 or disabled of any age, then I suggest and recommend that you please apply online. You could go to myguamtax.com and apply online. The deadline to apply, by law, we had 30 business days from the time of implementation. We implemented on September 29, so the community has until November 12th to apply. So I strongly recommend and suggest to everybody to please apply. We've been processing applications. As of last week, we'd received almost 500 applications. We're targeting to try to run checks in this week. And so, that's going to be really exciting, because I know for a lot of our people, again, who are really challenged, I think everybody's very challenged, including our team, as we work to process. But, again, we recognize the importance of getting these out, and we really want to get these out to everyone. So, please file online if you have questions. I know Chris and Sabrina and Jason, very well, if you go to our myguamtax.com or guamtax.com website, you could find the COVID-19 section of our webpage has a lot of information, and all of the Menguffa information that you need to know, our FAQs and things like that, are there. So, I want to remind everybody again, we have only a little bit less than a month to go before the application period ends. And I don't want anybody who qualifies for Menguffa or a Judy Mangafa to miss out on the opportunity to get paid the $500 per dependent that qualifies.
Could you kind of go over again the qualifications? So $150,000, that's the limit for joint filers?
Right. For married filing joint, it's $150,000. Actually, and for head of household, it's $112,500, and for single filers, it's $75,000. And so that's the eligibility threshold. You also, you of course couldn't have been paid already for your dependent. So, if I had a dependent who was at borderline and I was able to get paid an EIP payment for that dependent already through the regular EIP, I won't qualify. But if my dependent was again, because we do have some people that were like bridging 17, 18 or 16, 17, sorry, in 2018, 2019. So if you did not get an EIP because your dependent was over 16 years old, based on your return filing, then, you can qualify for this if you fall within the thresholds. So again, I highly recommend people to do it. We received, as of last week, about 500. We're proud to say that people have been doing it online, and we recommend for people to file online as much as they can. So then I believe it actually helps to expedite the process because we have it already. We don't have to process it. If you drop it in the Dropbox or mail it to us, we could also accept it. But if you file it online, it's just a little bit faster because we don't have to process it ourselves. You can also find the Aduda Imengafa forums at our mayor's offices. And I want to thank Executive Director Angel Sabuan and all of our mayors for their constant and honestly, their commitment to making sure that they help us to get out these applications to our community. They've been great just support for us. And so I want to thank our mayors, all of them for just, for being so great about that. But you could find them in our mayor's offices because I know there are some people who may not be able to access I guess a computer. You can find those forms at our mayor's offices. And if you have any questions, our Aduda Mangafa information, our FAQ does have all of the contact information, or you can email us at mangafa@revtax.guam.gov. Sorry, Guam Mangafa. Guam Mangafa at revtax.guam.gov.
How many checks are you looking to cut this week for the Mangafa program?
I'm sorry, Sabrina, I don't have that amount right now, but I know that our team has been, at least for the last week or so, trying to gear up to pay those. I'll provide that information to you as soon as I get it, but I know we did have about 500 applicants as of last week.
When we spoke with DOA Director Edward Byrne, I want to say it was last week or 2 weeks ago, I asked him about the funding source because the priority was to use the CARES Act money. Is that the case, that we are still going to be using CARES Act money to fund Mangafa?
Sabrina, and that's something that I am not, that's the one part of Aduda Mangafa that I actually I'm not involved in determination of the funding source. Everything else in Aduda Mangafa, probably we're involved in, but we don't generally. And so I actually rely heavily on Director Byrne and Director Carlson on that matter. I know from the time that it was being discussed at the legislature, I made sure that I provided the language to both BBMR and DOA, and again, we rely on them heavily on that. I can't say I don't know what the source of funding is going to be, but they are very aware of the language that's in the law.
Mm-hmm. Hey, Daph, just so people know, right? So you're saying if we got an economic impact payment and dependents weren't covered by that, with the EIP, it was, what was it, like $500 a dependent or something?
Right, and so it was $500 for dependent for EIP. It's the same for this as well. It's $500 for each dependent that qualifies. Right. So whether your dependent is 17 and 18 and not in college, or ages 19 to 23 and attending college or attending college, whether they live on Guam or they live stateside or somewhere else in the world, they can qualify as long as you meet the eligibility criteria for the other eligibility criteria. So
we had a question: what if at the time of the pandemic, a dependent was 16 and turned maybe 17 between like March and now? Would that still be eligible? Would they still be eligible?
So the age criteria actually is going to be based on your return filing. So your 2019 or 2018 return, whichever is being utilized. And if you haven't filed a 2019 return, but you did file a 2018, we utilize that. If you have not filed a and if you have filed a 2019, then we use the 2019. And that's all stated in our FAQ. So this is really based on either your 2019 or 2018 return and return information, and based on whatever has been filed.
Can you give an update on tax refunds?
Sure. Okay, so with regards to tax refunds, last week, Friday, we did process over $20 million. Last week, we processed over $23 million in refunds, and that brings us through April 17. We're working, of course, I'll tell you late last night, we're working with our team to make sure that we update our schedules and we continue to pay. My understanding is we're going to continue to pay on a weekly basis, just as we have been doing throughout since, I guess, early 2019. Very happy, that we were able to get those payments out. And we know, and I know that our people, are in dire need of monies. And so to be able to get those payments out to our people was very important. And, our team worked, late into Friday and into the weekend to make sure that those payments were ready to be mailed out first thing, or as soon as as Treasurer of Guam is able to get those yesterday. So we're very happy to say that those payments are ready to, and I'm hoping that, whatever has been mailed out yesterday, people are already beginning to receive those.
Daph, we had a question here about the passport office. A guy's trying to schedule a passport renewal for a daughter. 3 weeks of calls every day, no answer, calling 4 times a day.
Okay.
Otherwise,
Okay.
is there an email way to schedule a passport appointment, or is the passport office even open?
Our passport office is open. You can email christine.tadella@revtax.guam.gov. Or again, our customer service, we've been trying to actually have someone assist our current customer service, who kind of serves as our customer service or customer call center supervisor. So we now have 2 people who have that role, because of course the level of communication that we get is quite high. And, and to that individual who has been calling, and I know we've had many people also who have communicated to me that they've had some challenges in getting response. Honestly, it's not for a lack of us not wanting to get back to you. The reality is it's been a little bit challenging for us to manage all of the emails and calls that we get. But if you email christine.tadella@revtax.guam.gov, or we have a new person, again, that is assisting us in monitoring the PIN admin at revtax.guam.gov. That's PIN ADMIN at revtax.guam.gov. We have 2 people monitoring PIN admin at revtax.guam.gov. That's for any type of general question, whether it's for passport or other items. And again, on the issue of passport and any other branches, you can email PIN admin. On the issue of passports, just like we have done with our EIP with our Mangafa applications, we've also worked with our mayors to make sure that there are passport applications at the mayor's offices as well. Again, we recognize that there are some people who may not be able to print out the forms, the ones that you could find online. So we have those out at the mayor's offices, and you can obtain them there. And again, thank you to the mayors, because, again, through this whole pandemic, they've consistently supported our efforts to try to make sure that we get information out to the community. So for that individual, please email pinadmin@revtax.guam.gov, and thank you to him and to the whole community for your continued patience with us. And, we really appreciate it. We really are doing our best to serve.
Can you give us an update on DMV operations?
Absolutely. Just like all the other areas that we have, we're operating by appointment only. I think that, with regards to DMV operations in general, across the nation, even prior to the pandemic, we see these news on the long lines at the DMVs, again, throughout the nation. The pandemic or this, public health emergency that we have has definitely, caused a backlog of IDs and driver's license renewals and replacements. We're still working on, again, trying to get things to be done online as much as possible. But I do really highly recommend that for those individuals who have a driver's license already and are in need of a renewal or a replacement, that they, do it as much as possible through mail and Dropbox. We had a lot of questions about and inquiries from people who were going to be traveling to Hawaii, for medical purposes, and were under the impression that they needed a real ID, compliant ID. I have actually communicated directly with TSA locally. We have the flyers, from TSA, which state that, of course, the real ID deadline was moved by the President of the United States. Under the direction of the President of the United States, U.S. Homeland Security did actually move that deadline to October 2021. So, for those individuals who are going to be traveling to the States, through Hawaii, of course, the real ID is not required. And of course, if you're going through a foreign country, the real ID is actually not accepted because you have to have a passport. So, for real IDs, so for renewals of non-real ID compliant IDs or replacements of those, you could do those by Dropbox or mail. For those people who have already taken the permit test taken the written exam and just needed a permit, you could do that by mail. For a conversion of an intermediate to a full license, you could do that by mail and Dropbox too. We're working again to expand. I've been a little bit kind of distracted with other projects, but our team this week is really being tasked with, and I'm excited that we'll likely be launching some additional items that you can do through Dropbox and mail, and hopefully very, very soon in the near future, hopefully be doing them online. But again, we recommend as much as possible, be done by Dropbox and mail. A driver's license is driver's license and vehicle registrations. Actually, driver's license is probably the highest, the number one item that people email and call us about. As you know, I believe people have been having some challenges in trying to make appointments online because already the schedule is going beyond March. We're working to address that. We're also working to try to identify, in addition to the forms, additional mechanisms for trying to get people their driver's licenses and their Guam IDs. And, I expect that we'll be able to share that with the community very soon. I just want to share, Chris and Sabrina and Jason, this is actually, we have so many branches. We have 18 to 20 branches here. Everything that we do, there's somebody that is in need of a service, whether it's a business license or, pay their BPT or file it, or to get a driver's license, or to get their vehicle registered, or to get a title or something. We recognize that there are so many people that are in need, and we're going to do our best to support that. I actually, on a very kind of I actually work directly with our team members on the different initiatives that we have, and it's very important to.
No. You froze, Daph. Are you there? There you are. Okay.
Okay.
I'm so sorry about that if I froze. Please excuse me, because you know what? I use my personal equipment, so I'm hotspotting myself to my little laptop here.
Can we get an update on the positive case? You had an employee that tested positive.
Sure, and it's been a little bit. Obviously, we have an agency of almost 200 people, and with the rise in cases, I think that. It was just a matter of time before we had kind of a reportable case. And, we've actually, and in the JIC media release, you'll notice it is indicated that we do have kind of like what we call a bubbling schedule. It's not like bubbles in the sense that I know that the NFL is doing, where they isolate their team and they're, staying in a hotel or something like that. No, but we do have alternating work schedules, which we call bubbles. And how it works is we have basically split our agency in half. Every single branch is split basically in half. And so that way we can make sure that there's continuity of service in the event that there is exposure, whether it's actual or potential exposure. And so, I've been talking with my team because actually the particular case that was indicated in the JIC was something that I wasn't aware of until late in the weekend, when it was found that that there was an individual that was identified as positive, and most especially because the individual was at the office. Of course, we made sure that we contacted public health. We have been definitely in communication with Director St. Augustine, who I want to congratulate as well on his confirmation. But he's a really great, been a great colleague, but also with the head of environmental health to make sure that the measures that we take are appropriate. Public health, as you know, is very challenged with trying to do contact tracing. I know they went from 6 to like 46 contact tracers, but they're still, I think, in need of many more. So what we have done, and what I'm proud of our team is, and I did share with Chris, I'm proud of the fact that I believe that our team has been pretty proactive in terms of implementing procedures and measures to make sure that our people are safe. Even prior to the public health guideline, which required that every individual who comes into an agency signs in and that there's documentation on who signs in, we actually implemented, even prior to that, a check-in process where every person in our agency who came in had to already sign in. So I feel like we've been pretty proactive. So in terms of what's going on with the individual, my understanding is, of course, they are quarantining. And also we have worked under the guidance of public health to determine or to work on contact tracing ourselves within our agency. Now, what happens in terms of contact tracing outside, that's beyond us. Our focus, of course, is making sure that our people, our customers, anybody who within our agency has come into contact with somebody who, again, is either potentially positive or either has potential or actual exposure. Those are our focus. I wanted to share that I did share with Chris the public health guidance that I got on patients, which has been very useful for us. Although that public health guidance does talk about patients and if you get swabbed, I've told my team that, based on my discussions with public health, that there's, and I'm a numbers girl, so there's 2 numbers that I told my team that we really need to pay attention to. And that's the number 15 and the number 6. And, and so as a guide, if you look at the patient's guidance, the one I sent to you, Chris, if you are with somebody who is positive and you're with them for more than 15 minutes and you're within 6 feet of them, then that, as per the guidance, you're considered high to medium risk. Now, so, again, with regards to our team and as well as we've communicated with public health, we're utilizing that as a guide. I know that, I think that, there's so much information and, of course, the 3 W's are the things that we have been trying to make sure that we continue to follow, which is wash your hands, watch your distance, and wear your mask. But beyond that, we are now getting into the point and position, I think all of us, where we need to know what to do beyond that, because even if we wash our hands and we watch our distance and we wear our mask, there's still, because of the number of cases, a huge, possibility that, as you work, even in your office or studio, I know you may have had a challenge a few months ago, or when you go to the post office or go to the grocery store, that you're going to come into contact with somebody, or even if you go to the bathroom, I think, in a agency or a public place or wherever, there's always that fear. So I've talked with my team and we made sure that, again, we drive into our thoughts and minds and perhaps drill that 15 and 6 are really important numbers. And again, the guide is if you have been with or around somebody who is positive or potentially positive for 15 minutes and 6 feet, then, that's, again, the determination factor in where we go from there. We have already, to go back to your question, Sabrina, we, again, like I mentioned, we did do our own internal contact tracing under the guidance of public health. We have worked to identify, any potential individuals who may have come in contact with this individual. And we're making sure that, we made sure that prior to our anybody in our agency coming into the office, that we did do, sanitizing of our areas so that we, again, ensure that our people are safe.
How many people were identified as a close contact?
In terms of the close contact, in terms of the 15 and the 6, we identified really just the one. So again, what we did, and this is why it's so critical that we have, our check-in station and we have log people in. So we've identified really just from the guide of 15 and 6, we've identified the one, and we've already made sure that that person, has been is also following the public health guidelines, that they are quarantining as well, and that they are making sure that they are safe and monitoring their symptoms.
Daph, we just had another question in here. Are there penalties for expired vehicle registration?
I believe that we moved the deadline for vehicle registrations. I think that, and excuse me for not knowing it off the top of my head, but I'd like to say that we had extended through either November or December so that we do not, we don't penalize you. But, of course, within reason. Now, there are actually some cars out there who have expired vehicle registrations that are expired from like March 2019. I think that that's not necessarily reasonable in terms of working to try to get a registration.
Right. What if what if our registration expires like October, November, December?
I believe that I believe our new guidance in Volume 8 does indicate that I think we expanded it from like March 2020 to I think it was October, November. So and you know what, we're thanks Chris for that question, because we're continuing to make sure that we recognize that, again, on one side, we're these enforcement people, nobody likes the taxman or the people that are coming to try to enforce. But on the other side, of course, we recognize that, we also have to have compassion for people, especially at this time. And we're doing our best to try to balance that. And I believe that our team has done a good job, at that, and I'm proud of them for that. So if you have a expired vehicle registration, it expired in this month. I believe that we had extended it through November or December. And if it's not December, then again, as we progress through this public health emergency and we determine that we're not, if we're not able to get people as they need to come in and to register or to get their driver's licenses done, then we have been making adjustments accordingly.
We had another comment here. Where do we turn in GRT?
Okay, so for GRT, you could file
You like
GRT
that, right?
online.
How do we give you money? Oh, okay, I know how to do that.
Hey, you know what? We never turn away money.
Yeah.
We take the money first, and we'll ask you later. But so for GRT, you could file and pay online. You could also go to the Treasurer of Guam at ITC building. They are open, and then you can also drop payments by check at our Dropbox. And if you go to our Volume 8, you will be able to find all the mechanisms for being able to make payments to us for the different areas, whether it's GRT, income tax, collections. You could again, at Treasurer of Guam, you could actually pay an outstanding tax due. So we have a collections person there. I thank Director Byrne for accommodating us so that we can make sure that we are available to the public.
Thank you, Daph. I think we got to go. Anything in closing here? Can you give out the phone numbers as people keep asking what numbers? So for just the respective divisions, if you can.
Well, so our customer call center is 635-184-414257. You can email us at pinadmin@revtax.guam.gov. I just want to say thank you again to you, Jason, Sabrina with great hair, Chris, and KUAM for really honestly, working to help us to get out the information that's required. I can't thank you enough. I know what you do is so important. And again, please everybody stay safe. And, if you need us, we're here. I promise you, we're going to do our best to work to respond to you. It may take some time, but we are doing our best to do that. And we're here to serve our people. And again, want to thank everybody in the community for continuing to be patient. We promise that we're here for you, and we're going to continue to do so. All right, but have a great day and stay safe, Guam. Stay safe, everybody.
Thank you, Daph. Be safe. Wash your hands.
Hagumas.
Oh, we actually have some virtual. What is it today, Jay? What'd you make?
Pumpkin turnover.
Oh, we have some virtual pumpkin